Pittsburgh Steelers fans, get the news we've all been waiting for. DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers worked out over the weekend. This couldn't be a better sign that Aaron Rodgers is coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The playoff drought is going to end. The 9-year playoff win drought is officially over. Aaron Rodgers, the savior of the Steelers organization, the bridge to the next Big Ben, is on his way to the Pittsburgh Steelers like I knew he would be. This was fantastic news, but of course, leave it to that one guy in the locker room to ruin it. Leave it to that guy and his father. And we all know who that guy was. That was George Pickens and his dad tweeting some nonsense about who George Pickens, quarterback, has been for the last few years. First, let's start with the positivity. Then we'll get into the locker room plague named George Pickens. Photos, videos of Aaron Rodgers' workout with DK Metcalf released. Aaron appears to look in great spirits. He looks in great shape. He looks ready to go. I couldn't be happier. We all know he's coming. I love it. We are going to the playoffs. We are going deep into the playoffs, Steelers fans. The drought is officially over. When you get a quarterback who threw for more than 4,000 yards last year and 28 touchdowns, we are playoff bound. And I love it. You know why? Not only do I love it for football reasons, but for political reasons. All the liberal crybabies will now start crying their eyes out that Aaron Rodgers, the California kid, is now a Pittsburgh Steeler. What a beautiful sight. Who doesn't want to throw to that beast of a man? This is going to be a great year for the Pittsburgh Steelers when Aaron Rodgers signs. And for everybody, all the lunatics losing your minds, I appreciate you. I love you. You know what? I love you. I love it because all it does is show your passion for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But remember one thing. Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, Art Rooney, they told Aaron Rodgers that he could take his time to make his decision. They gave him a date before the draft to let them know what it was going to be. Don't blame Aaron Rodgers. He is doing the right thing behind the scenes. He wants to make sure he can still play. He wants to get on the page with his receivers. It's going to be a great season for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025. Per NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, the two had a planned and lengthy practice session. It's unclear how the two agreed to get together, but both being in the area likely helped. Rodgers is from California, while Metcalf bought a house in Los Angeles. Here, let me help you. Aaron Rodgers is a real leader. He probably picked up his telephone and said, hey, DK, you want to catch some passes? Let's get together. That's what probably happened. George Pickens' dad once again throws the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin under the bus, making every single excuse in the world for his diva son's behavior. The reason why George Pickens acts the way he does is because of his father. Let's jump into this tweet. Of course, we get good news this weekend that Aaron Rodgers worked out with DK Metcalf, and George probably heard that, and knowing Diva George, he was probably jealous. So what did him and his daddy do? They send out a tweet to ruin the good news. Let's jump into the tweet. Food for thought. GP has played with 1 Trubisky, 2 Pickett, 3 Rudolph, 4 Wilson, 5 Fields, 6 all in 3 years. I can appreciate your sanity, number 14. This is just the typical George Pickens Sr. This is exactly why his son acts the way he does. You know who cost George Pickens a $100 million contract? Not the Pittsburgh Steelers, not the quarterbacks he just named, his father. His father is the reason why the money that went to DK Metcalf didn't go to his son because of his stupid attitude. Let me explain to George Pickens Sr. something. There's 55 other guys on a team who all have families, wives, girlfriends, whatever. Do you think none of those people with the parents, the girlfriends, the wives, do you think they're all thrilled with the Steelers, what goes on? No. You think TJ Watt's mom isn't pissed off that her son didn't win Defensive Player of the Year 2 years in a row when he was robbed, or robbed ever since he hasn't gotten the award? Do you think she's not happy? Of course she's not happy. Does she go to Twitter and vent her frustrations? No. Does she throw the team under the bus? Absolutely not. Do you see any other players on the Pittsburgh Steelers, family, wives, girlfriends, whoever, fathers, throw the Pittsburgh Steelers under the bus? Absolutely not. But who is the one player whose family and father does that? Oh, that's right, George Pickens. And who is the one player in the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room that causes problems? George Pickens. Who's the one player that doesn't show up for practice, shows up late to games, makes these gestures, causes his team a 15-yard penalty for taunting every time he catches a pass? Oh, that's right. That player's name is George Pickens. And where does George Pickens get his antisocial, ridiculous behavior from? From his dad. That's who. I wouldn't expect anything less from George Pickens Sr. or George Pickens Jr. And you know what? The only thing that's going to happen to the Pittsburgh Steelers and Art Rooney, if they give George Pickens a contract, a big contract, his behavior is only going to get worse. He was going into a contract year, George Pickens. Couldn't even behave himself for 17 weeks to get $100 million. If that can't make him behave, nothing will. And then if you think by rewarding George Pickens for his bad behavior with a $100 million contract is going to make anything better, you need to see a psychiatrist and have your head examined for having a mental disorder. I can't stand George Pickens Sr. or his son, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to end it with this. The city of Pittsburgh, its fans, Mike Tomlin, Art Rooney, George Pickens' teammates, there isn't a person that wants the Steelers to win the Super Bowl who doesn't want George Pickens to be the best receiver that the Pittsburgh Steelers have ever drafted. But guess what? That's not enough. That's not enough for George Pickens Sr. and Jr. Nope. 100. First of all, George didn't get the contract. That's right. He didn't because he doesn't deserve it, whether it's play or behavior. But they're paying the man millions of dollars still. He's not going to a job like the majority of us go to that we don't like. He's going to a job where they pay him millions of dollars to play a kid's game, where everybody wants George Pickens to succeed, and it's still not good enough for his father or him. And that's why I can't stand either one of these two clowns. It's time to say goodbye to George Pickens. And another thing to all the Steeler media out there, stop making excuses for George Pickens. You sound absolutely ridiculous. He's not a good person. He'll never be a good person. I don't want to hear that he commits crime. We're not talking about criminality. We're talking about in football circles on a football team, putting the team first. George Pickens and his father are absolutely horrible, terrible human beings. It's time to say goodbye to the Pickens family.